How's it going, everyone? Steven here. I'm trying out a new setting in the film studio. Leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. But what I want to talk about is something that I'm dealing with in this quarantine, and I imagine a lot of you are going through as well. And it's the fact that as we've lost different liberties, whether it's going out to my favorite social setting or hanging out with friends, what I've realized is that a lot of my favorite distractions have been stripped away, and I'm left being forced to look at myself in the mirror and at some of the things in my life that I'm not so happy about. And I imagine a lot of you are going through the same. Maybe you're realizing that you love your work more than your spouse or your kids, and that's causing some real tension now that you're around them 24/7. Maybe you're realizing you don't have a lot of deep friendships in your life now that you can't go out to the bar and enjoy those superficial, shallow relationships. And don't get me wrong, I have them just as much as you probably have them too. Or maybe you're realizing that you're an addict, and now that you can't run to your distractions, you're realizing how much that issue is causing havoc in your life. And I could go down the list and continue to give other examples, but my point in sharing this is that now that we can't distract ourselves, we're really forced to take an honest look in the mirror at some of the things that we don't want to see. Now that we can't distract ourselves, what are we going to do about it? And I think there's a great opportunity there for us to work on the areas in our life where we are weakest. We may not want to. And in our culture today, it is easy. It's encouraged for us to pretend we're okay when we're not okay. But when we do that, it doesn't end well. And I think an example that illustrates this really well is a scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's a British comedy from, I think, the 1970s. And there's a scene where King Arthur is fighting a character called the Black Knight. King Arthur, at one point, he cuts off the arm of the Black Knight, who denies the fact that he just lost his arm, and he says, oh, it's just a scratch, and they keep fighting. Well, King Arthur cuts off his other arm, and at this point, the Black Knight says the infamous lines, oh, it's just a flesh wound, and so they keep fighting. King Arthur cuts off one of his legs. At this point, the Black Knight is hysterical, and he says, I'm invincible. And King Arthur cuts off his other leg. At this point, the Black Knight, who's lost all four limbs, he says, all right, we'll call it a draw. And it's an absolutely ridiculous scene. It makes me laugh every time. But in another way, it also doesn't, because I realize what the Black Knight is doing is something that I do and a lot of other people do emotionally and spiritually. And it's the fact that we have really serious issues in our life. We have really serious wounds in our character that we are ignoring, and they're just festering. And they're starting to impact other areas of our life. So now that we don't have distractions anymore, now that we can't hide from those issues, let's work on them so that when this pandemic is over, we can come out on the other side a better person for it. I mean, imagine if you worked on the biggest issue in your life right now and you came out on the other side and you were free of it. How much more could you accomplish your goals? How much more could you be the person that you've always wanted to be if you got rid of the issues in your life that were holding you back from being that person? How happy and proud would you be, even if it cost you something right here, right now? So I encourage you, take this as an opportunity. Since we can't run away, let's work on who we are so we can be better. Well, how am I doing it? I first identify what's something I can do to work on, and then I take action to improve in that area. So something that I need to work on is the fact that I'm not a very compassionate person. I'm very goal-driven. I'm very focused on my goals and my ambitions. And very often I forget about people in my life. And that's something I got to work on. So what I'm doing is I'm very intentionally with the people I'm sheltered in place with and with people I interact with on the phone or through Zoom or Skype. What I do is I honestly ask, how is your day going? I listen, and then I engage. I start a dialogue, continuing to follow up from that first question instead of just letting it drop and the conversation die. I'm forcing myself to take interest because I know by continuing to do that, I'm going to get better at relating to other people and building deeper friendships. That's uncomfortable, but I know I'll come out on the other side better for it. And so I challenge you, identify where do you need to grow. Don't run away from it. Face it. And by the time we're through this, you might realize that you like improving yourself far more than running away to your distractions. Take this as a great opportunity, and I hope you come out better on the other side for it.